Coming up on this week's show, Pat Henshaw is here as part of the 2016 GRL Blog Tour, and Brandilyn from Prison Book Alliance gives us the lowdown on the UK meet.
Welcome to the Big Gay Fiction Podcast, the show for readers and writers of gay romance fiction. If you can read it, write it, watch it, or listen to it, these two guys are going to talk about it. Now, here are your hosts, Jeff Adams and Will Knaus.
Welcome to episode 49 of Jeff and Will's Big Gay Fiction Podcast.
I'm Jeff from JeffAdamsWrites.com.
And as always, I'm Will from WillKnaus.com. As always.
As always.
I don't know if should I be assuming that people know I'm always here?
Well, it's a safe assumption that you're always from WillKnaus.com.
Well, yes.
Because you're not going to change that any day soon.
No.
Hey there, how's it going?
It's fine.
Good week?
Pretty. Let me think back. Yes,
it was a weird week because it was a 4-day work week, at least for me, and that throws everything off.
Yeah, the holiday kind of messes things up a little bit, but fine for me. How was it for you?
It was good. It was full of edits, edits and paperwork.
Yeah, definitely. You've been an editing monster.
More edits got wrapped up for Love's Opening Night, which continues towards its publication later this year. Did paperwork for Somewhere on Mackinac. Trying to give my best guidance on what I think that cover should be. And also started, I know. In some ways that is more stressful to me than the blurb.
No, I think the blurb is way more stressful. I think the blurb is, I think it's more important and it's more difficult. I mean, with the cover, you kind of know what you want. You just have to see it first. It's like you know it when you see it.
You know it when you see it, but the hard part, at least for me, I mean, with the blurb, I know what the blurb is technically supposed to be because I understand how you're supposed to craft them, and it's hard in a different way. This is a more creative thing about how do I want the book to appear in this one visual snapshot moment, and how do I want to convey that to the artist.
Well, I already told you what I think.
Yeah, and I
just listen to me.
And I put that in the form. Now, the form you're not helping me with at all is for Codename Winger #1.
That's all up to you. I have not read this book. I don't know what you want it to look like.
So that's the other form I'm working on this week, is getting that ready to go over to the Harmony folks.
Yeah, a lot of paperwork.
And then I also made a paperback this week.
Dun, da-da!
Dancing for Him has been my email the free thing you get if you sign up to my email list on JeffAdamsWrites.com.
And it's a really good story.
And I decided that it should be a paperback. There's no reason for it not to be the paperback. I know a lot of my readers actually ask for paperbacks for various things. And so I made a paperback. Not quite out yet. This is my proof copy from Create Space. Going through that, making the proofs, doing a couple adjustments on some stuff.
Yeah.
It'll be out, I suspect it'll be out by the end of the month on Amazon and Barnes & Noble and all those places you can pick up paperbacks. I'll have them with me at GRL if you're at GRL. So you pick it up there if you want in the bookseller room.
Cool.
Yeah. So that was fun. I have to say, this is my second Create Space adventure, and it was far less stressful than the first. I don't think I cussed once putting this together, although I did have a couple of fights with Microsoft Word, getting some things to bottom out on the page right. On the pages,
Word.
Right. I know, right?
Silly Word.
So coming up this week, I'm going to be gone again. I feel like I'm traveling like every other week.
You are traveling every other week
for the next couple through October. I'm headed back east on Wednesday to do Cycle for the Cause. I'm happy to say that I've got over $2,000 right now in my donation account, which is awesome. Thanks to everybody who's donated, and to Tracy and Pat who donated this week to the account. As a reminder, Cycle for the Cause benefits the HIV/AIDS services offered at the LGBT Center in New York City. These are our life-saving services that are available, both from a prevention standpoint and to help people who have the disease be able to live their lives and get the help and assistance that they need. My 7th year to do this. If you're interested in donating, all donations are awesome, from the smallest to the absolute largest. If you donate $100 or more and you're in the United States, I will be happy to hook you up with signed hat trick paperbacks for the entire trilogy. That's how important this is to me, that I will happily donate those to you if you donate over $100. Just there's a link in the show notes that'll take you to my donation page, because the link is way too difficult to say on air. You do that, send me an email, or reach out to me via the show notes page, and I'll hook you up with the paperbacks. There's another way that you can help the cause also. I wrote a story called Bicycle Built for Two that's available from Dream Spinner Press. All of my royalties to that go towards Cycle for the Cause. So for I think it's $3.99 retail for that story. So you pay about $4. Cycle for the Cause gets a little bit of money, and it's great. I'll have a link to that in the show notes too. And for that one, I will take you directly to Dream Spinner Press, because if you buy directly from them, I will get the most amount of royalties. Mm-hmm. So that's Cycle for the Cause. May do some Facebook Live while I'm back east on the ride, so you can get a little view of it, and encourage you maybe to donate a little more while we're out on the road, so as you see what's happening. So you could look for that. Some of the ride activities start on Thursday as everybody gets together in Boston before we ride out at the crack of dawn on Friday morning. So there you go. Mm-hmm. That's what I'm doing next week.
Yes, you be a busy, busy fellow.
Indeed.
Busy, busy fellow.
So we like reviews, don't we?
Let me think. I would say we love reviews.
Mm-hmm. Just like a book, reviews help this podcast get visibility on all the podcast channels, whether it's iTunes or Google Play or iHeartRadio or anywhere else you could leave a review. So if you're liking us, think about leaving a review wherever you happen to subscribe to us from. And that includes the YouTube channel. By all means, leave a review on an individual episode, or give it the thumbs up, because that'll help spread the word and, make it do magical things through YouTube so more people see it.
Magical.
It is magical.
It's magic.
It's all about those algorithms and stuff.
Yep, sure is. So, yes, if you have a few extra moments and you happen to be on YouTube or at the podcast distribution channel of your choice, please consider leaving a thoughtful review.
So, 60-day challenge. I'd call that kind of an epic fail this week. If you're watching the video, you're seeing the faces he's making right now.
I'm laughing. It's a laugh of shame. It's really, we did pretty bad this week when, the 60-day challenge has not gone according to plan.
But that was only week 3. Mm-hmm. So there are still math, 5 weeks to go.
5 weeks till GRL.
So there's still time to, charge forward. We'll reset on Monday. Mm-hmm. I will certainly be around good food during the ride, because they feed those cyclists what they need to do their ride, so they don't go off the rails completely in terms of nutrition. And then I'll try to be good the couple of days I'm in New York, and we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
Now, our next update to you guys, because we're recording 3 episodes back to back because of the travel this right now, we won't tell you how things are going until we're 3 more weeks down the line, which will be week 6. So, we'll see how it's going in a few weeks. We may have to take Elvis up on his idea of the intermittent fasting. Is that what that was called?
Yeah. It's probably something we should experiment and look into anyway. So, once we get over the proverbial hump of all of our travels and GRL, we will most definitely be looking into intermittent fasting and see how that might work in our daily routine.
Yes, absolutely. So I caught up on a book this week that's one that you've read already, mm-hmm. Which is M.J. O'Shea's Marriage of Inconvenience. I so loved this book. I mean, you talked about it a few episodes back, mm-hmm. and loved it as well, but Jericho and Carrie are so cute as their romance kind of goes from being kind of almost an employer-employee sort of relationship, because Carrie works at a PR office where they're trying to get bad boy actor Jericho out of a situation, and makes them set up as boyfriends and fiancés, at least, fake for the summer, so that Jericho can go off and be on his brand new TV show. But of course that blooms into love, and watching these two, watching Jericho's walls break down and watching Carrie get all squishy was just a delight. MJ did it again, and I can't wait to read Open Road, which I know you're working on right now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Time now for the GRL Guest Author Spotlight.
We're happy to welcome Pat Henshaw to the podcast as part of the official 2016 GRL Blog Tour. A former book reviewer, Pat grew up in the middle of the United States and subsequently lived on all three coasts. At various times, she's been a librarian, an English composition instructor, and a theatrical costumer. She's also traveled around Europe, Central America, and Asia. The latest in her Foothills Pride series, Relative Best, came out on August 17th. Thanks for being with us, Pat.
Well, thank you for having me.
It is great to have you here. We see, for those who are on the video feed, they'll actually see that you're in Foothills Pride t-shirt.
Yes, I am. Yes, I am. And this is how you can find me at GRL. This is my GRL dress.
It's the GRL uniform.
Yeah, exactly.
So introduce your Foothills Pride series for our listeners who may not be familiar with it.
Well, the Foothills Pride series takes place in this small foothills, Sierra Nevada foothills town that I made up called Stoneacres. And it's, in 2000, the life in the Bay Area turned bad and very expensive. And so a lot of the Bay Area people moved out, and they moved to Sacramento, which was not much better. And then they moved to the foothills. And that's where my entire story takes place. It's a small town that was very traditional, very conservative, very historic. And so suddenly you have this whole new influx of people coming, gay men, lesbians, all sorts of people that aren't traditionally in this kind of community, and they're shaking the community up. And that's what the stories are all about.
And you've just packaged the first 4 into a paperback, too.
Can I show it again?
Of course.
I just got them this afternoon, and it's so exciting. Now, see, you're going to be running this later, so I will have had them for a few weeks, and maybe the new book smell will have gone off, but I'm hoping that doesn't happen.
Now, the first one, What's in a Name, I should mention I have read the first and second of the novella series, and I love them a lot. They're really good. That first book, you just gave us a little bit of the backstory that may have served as sort of the inspiration for this series. Where did the idea for that first book come from? What was the impetus to start putting pen to paper for this series?
Well, I was a reviewer, and I've been a reviewer for too many years to mention. Meaning, I've been a reviewer longer than most of the listeners have been alive, right? Including you guys. So I've been wanting to be an author. It's funny when you're a writer, and I've had my byline for years and decades, and nobody considers me a real writer, and including sort of myself. And so I've always wanted to be an author. Well, I like Dream Spinner. I love Dream Spinner books. So I decided that I was going to write for Dream Spinner. So I've been looking at their, calls for submissions and trying to figure out, where do I fit in? Well, there was a call for submission for a contemporary novella that had to do, or actually it was a short story, that had to do with a fairy tale being brought into contemporary life. So I said, I had it. It just popped into my head. Rumpelstiltskin. What a fun thing to do. So I wrote this great thing, and it was wonderful. And then I went back to the call for submission and found out that I was not only a month late, but I was 10,000 words over what they wanted. So I went crying into my husband saying, now I've really blown it. This is my big chance to be a star. And, it's sort of like the theater thing, I'm the understudy, and I came and I tripped on stage. How could I do that? Anyway, so he said to me, well, why can't you just send it in? And I sort of went, I don't know. He said, go ahead, just send it in. What can they say? I mean, they say yes, that's great. They say no, hey, you haven't lost anything, right? So I did, and there it is. There's the book. So I don't know where the idea came from, but I'm certainly glad it hit me. I once interviewed Arlo Guthrie, and Arlo Guthrie said that there are songs all around us all the time, and all he did was pick a song from all these songs that are going around, and he recorded it. And he said that's why you get a lot of songs that sound exactly the same and are on the same subject. It's because songwriters hear them. And I figure novelists and writers are the same way. Mm-hmm. That there are these stories that are around us, and we just pick them up. It's like we have the antenna or the, whatever to find them. So mm-hmm. I notice Lex Chase does a whole thing on fairy tales too. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And at the same time that I must have been writing What's in a Name, she was writing the first of hers. Mm-hmm. So I kind of think Arlo was kind of right.
Yeah, fairy tales were in the air right then. And...
Yeah, right then. And she and I both picked them out of the sky, and there it is.
Yeah, but they seem popular overall because, you've got, Once Upon a Time on TV right now, too, that brings the fairy tales
exactly
into primetime television, too.
Yeah, exactly. So, I don't know.
So what's happening in the new book with Relative Best?
With Relative Best, once I got this town sort of solidified in my head, I started putting different buildings all over town. And Relative Best has to do with the hotel and the person in the hotel and the guy who runs it and whose family has run it forever. And so what you're finding out beside his story and his happily ever after is you're finding out what this hotel used to be, what it has a history of, and one of the things that it has a history of is all the strays, people who are in trouble, people who need an asylum, people who need someplace to put its arms around them and say, you'll be safe here, don't worry. This is that hotel. And so it's all about family. Everything I write is about family, really, Mm-hmm. So that's what it's about.
And you mentioned, as we started recording, that you've got 12 books planned for this series.
Yes, I do.
So you want to give any sneak peeks on what the future holds?
I just sold the next one to Dream Spinner. It takes place at Christmas. It's about two short men and how they sort of struggle in the world. I noticed that shorter men, it's amazing. They have to have this kind of real belief in themselves that most men don't have to really get along in the world well. And this is about two of those guys getting together. And both of whom thought they were going to be with a tall, dark, and handsome, and turn out with a short, dark, and handsome instead. So it's called Short Order. It's coming out in December or January. And I'm working on the one after that right now that's called Seared. And it's about a guy who's going to start a new steakhouse where Tommy's Steakhouse was. I can't tell you more because then I tell you why Tommy's Steakhouse closed.
Yeah, we don't want to give anybody spoilers. We wanted to pick up the books.
Anyway, but unfortunately, Tommy isn't quite the entrepreneur and steakhouse owner that he thinks he is. And so his place has to close, and a new guy comes in who's sort of like Penn Jillette.
Okay.
Do you know who Penn Jillette is?
Yeah, interesting.
Yes. Anyway, he has an idea that what Stone Acres needs is a Casa Bonita.
Okay.
So
sometime in 2017, we'll get to find out what that's about.
Yes. So that's on the books. Let's see. What else is happening? Oh, I have an audiobook in the works.
That's exciting.
What's in the name? What's in a name is going to be an audio. So I just had the audio auditions, I guess. Yeah. And are your books in audio?
I've got one that's in audio.
Okay, so you know what the drill is.
Yeah.
And you get to hear some other people's ideas of what your book is. and you listen to some of these and go, what book are you reading? It certainly isn't mine. But anyway, so I just went through that and picked a narrator, and I really like him. So that's supposed to be out in October, so I'm hoping it's in time for GRL, because that would be kind of fun.
Yeah.
In which case, I will bring something and keep playing your excerpts for people. Listen to this, listen to this. Let's see, I told you about short order. I made myself a list of a cheat sheet here. Oh, oops. Short order isn't the next one, sorry. Oh, yeah, no, it is. I get confused. What can I say? I just submitted The Right Sort, which is the story of the hardware store owner who's your mild-mannered, just the nicest guy. This is the old nice guys finish last, only they don't in this case, But he's just a wonderful guy, just the kind of guy, anytime anything goes wrong with your house, you want to call up and say, hey, Frank, come over here. The water isn't coming out right. I don't know. There are 3 lights that don't go on in my house, anything like that. Remember, it's a small town, so at the hardware store, he takes care of everything. Mm-hmm. There isn't an electrician or any of those. It's too small. It's the small town where my son-in-law grew up, and he is now moving back there. So that should be interesting this year, too. And then I told you about Seared. Yeah, and that's the next one that comes in.
Do you work on Foothills Pride pretty much exclusively for now?
No, not really, because I also have a Christmas story that's going in the Christmas anthology.
Oh, that's exciting.
Yeah, and it's about, it's called The Orpheum Miracle, and it's about a guy who lives in an old, used to be a vaudeville theater that's turned into a movie theater. And he lives there. Basically, he's homeless. And he works there and he lives there. He doesn't think anybody knows he lives there. So I'm
Awesome.
kind of happy about it.
Yeah, something else to look forward to.
Yeah, absolutely.
Cool.
So what are you looking forward to in Kansas City this year?
Well, this is my first GRL.
Oh, that's exciting.
So
okay.
I don't know what I'm looking forward to. I can tell you the only thing I know that I'm looking forward to is I want to go see B.G. Thomas's Ben's coffee shop.
Mm-hmm.
Because when I was reviewing, I remember reviewing Hound Dog and Bean, and just falling in love with this place. And now I'm going to be at ground zero, and if I don't see it, I will shoot myself. No.
I think it'll be a field trip to go to the coffee house.
Yeah. Well, my daughter's going to be with me, my younger daughter. She is my convention daughter, and she's been to RT with me before. And so we have a lot of fun. We don't make it to a lot of the events that the convention people put together because we're doing things like going off to the coffee shop, and stuff like that, wherever we are, And so we're really looking forward to having a lot of fun. She has the same t-shirt I have, only hers is black.
Okay, so they'll be able to find her and you.
And you, yes, the two of us.
So what's the best way for everyone to keep up with you online?
The best way is I'm on and off Facebook, and I have my my email address all over, and those are the two best ways.
Excellent. We'll link up to those in our show notes, along with all your books, so that people can go out and get those. And we look very forward to seeing you in Kansas City in a few months.
Oh, yeah.
Actually, now it's more like a few weeks.
I know.
You can follow the GRL Blog Tour by going to gayromlit.com/2016 blog tour.
So as you know, if you've been listening along for the last few weeks, we have teamed up with the authors that we're hosting on the GRL Blog Tour for the giveaway of a 7-inch Fire tablet that's loaded with books from our guests, as well as books from my catalog and books from Wild City Press and the authors that they have that are attending GRL. So right now there's like over 80 books waiting to get loaded into this Kindle, so it's huge. You can see the Rafflecopter on episode 49's show notes to enter. And this big GRL Blog Tour giveaway runs through Sunday, October 23rd, which is the closing day of GRL. And you need a word for the week to get your bonus entries. And for Cycle for the Cause, this week's word is cycle. C-Y-C-L-E.
Good to know. A very good word and a really great prize.
I know, it just keeps growing. Authors keep sending books. I just keep throwing them in this folder.
It's really amazing. It's really good. So be sure to check out the show notes for this week's episode and enter that Rafflecopter. Especially use the word cycle, C-Y-C-L-E. I had to think about it for a second. Use the word cycle to get your bonus entries. It's well worth it.
Yeah.
Moving on, I wanted to talk really briefly about a movie I saw this week. It's called Boy Meets Girl, and it's from 2014. And it is about a trans girl named Ricky. She's living in the middle of nowhere, Kentucky, and she dreams of going to fashion school in New York City. And in between slinging lattes at the local coffee shop, she meets postmodern debutante named Francesca, and she starts a little fling with this girl who is waiting for her Marine boyfriend to return home from Afghanistan. Meanwhile, Ricky's best friend, Robbie, is standing by looking at all of this, and he has to sort of re-examine his feelings about Ricky and the whole situation. I really, really recommend this movie. That was sort of a half-assed lame description. The movie itself is actually really charming, really heartfelt. The three main leads are absolutely excellent. I can't recommend it enough. I really enjoyed it. So, Boy Meets Girl. I personally watched this one. It's streaming on Netflix right now. You can also most likely rent it at all the normal places like Amazon, Amazon Prime, Hulu, probably a whole bunch of other places.
iTunes, etc.
Yeah, those sorts of places. So yeah, Boy Meets Girl, I recommend it. Check it out.
Cool. Now we've caught up on a lot of TV.
Mm-hmm.
We've completed binge watching a couple of series from last year, and we also completed the summer show. What we just completed this week was Crazy Ex-Girlfriend. AJ Truman, wow. Thank you for even more emphasizing that we should watch that. Mm-hmm. Oh my God. What a hoot.
I honestly believe, I think this is literally the funniest show on television right now. It is so hilarious and so outrageous and so also very heartfelt.
Mm-hmm.
I really enjoyed this season. The new season is starting up really soon. Super duper looking forward to it.
Yeah, I mean, you're right. For a long time, I've thought that Big Bang was the funniest thing around. And for a while, too, Real O'Neals, I thought, had a really outrageously funny first season on ABC. But this show, consistently laugh out loud funny. It's outrageous scenarios, but not so outrageous that you don't think that maybe it could happen with some crazy ex-girlfriend. And the songs are all epically awesome. And there's riffs on Les Mis and on Gypsy and on classic 80s rock tunes and Disney songs. It's outrageous. Yeah, I can't wait to see where it comes back, because it left off with a pretty decent cliffhanger. And I have to say, I like how they mess with the titles, too, of the show. There was at least 2 episodes where the credits didn't fall where you think they should. And then they show up in a new and unique way.
Yeah. So definitely keep an eye out for Crazy Ex-Girlfriend. Check your local listings. And if you haven't given it a try already, please do. Catch up online.
Binge it on Netflix.
Yeah, I don't think you'll be disappointed.
It's only 18 episodes, so you've got time, because this is a mid-October show when it comes back on the CW.
Yeah. Also, recently, we finally, it took forever, mostly, I concede it was mostly my fault. I was a little trepidatious going into the second half of Empire's second season. It sat on our DVR for literally forever. You finally made me sit down and watch it.
I finally said, I'm starting Empire on X date with you or without you, because I wanted it done before season 3 started.
Needless to say, we have finally finished season 2 of Empire, and I loved it.
I did too. I liked the back half better. They cleaned up some of the mess. That if there was an Entertainment Weekly article that ran recently when Taraji P. Henson was on the cover a couple weeks ago, where they addressed that some of the stuff that they'd screwed up in season 2. And by the end of the season, they finished it. I can't wait for the show to come back, because there's a heck of a cliffhanger with Boo Boo Kitty and Rhonda cat fighting on a balcony.
I think some of the criticism leveled at the show is a bit harsh.
Yes.
I mean, granted, there were a lot of storylines and a lot of guest stars in the front half of the season that never technically went anywhere. It doesn't mean that they weren't enjoyable. I enjoyed them, but I think they kind of, what's the sailing term of writing your course?
To me, it diluted their story a little bit. As did the splitting of Empire and Lion Dynasty. Because then you had the family split into 2 camps in 2 different areas, kind of doing 2 different things for a while. But I think, they get their way out of it, too, because they use that fast plot that has become so popular with the Shonda Rhimes shows. Where you could be there and gone, and it's like, that's over in, 30 seconds.
Needless to say, the first season was excellent and groundbreaking. I still think season 2 was really, really excellent. If you haven't checked out Empire, I really think you should, especially if you like old school soap operas. This takes old school soap tropes and kind of gives them a new millennium twists. And plus, Taraji P. Henson. It's so okay. This is what was so hilarious. There's a character in Crazy Ex-Girlfriend. Greg and Heather. They were having a moment together, and Greg wanted to do something with her, and he's like, "Oh, I'm sorry. No, Thursday night is when you ironically watch Empire with your friends." And she's like, "No, I don't do it anymore. Taraji's my everything." Which is 100% true. Give it a shot if you haven't already. It's really, really amazing.
Yeah, it really is. And then we also finished up what we've been watching all summer, which was Dead of Summer. Those last 2 episodes freaked me out. Oh my god. The turn in that, and we won't go too far into it, but the turn that happened in those last 2, maybe 3 episodes just really Didn't see it coming, and part of it scared the crap out of me. I'll just put that out there. But I thought it was... They wrapped up their first season, I think, pretty smartly.
Yes, most definitely.
And somehow they're coming back for a season 2 that I don't really quite know how that will work. But, Friday the 13th always managed to regenerate itself, so...
it'll be very, very interesting to see what they do for season 2. Yeah. So looking forward to that.
Yeah. Sad we have to wait a whole year to get there. Yeah. So I have to have another sci-fi moment. This past week, Star Trek turned 50 on Thursday, the 8th, and we had our little Star Trek moment watching City on the Edge of Forever, which somehow Will had never seen. I blame myself for that. Never seen that classic episode. This coming Tuesday is another sci-fi day, because September 13th in the lexicon of sci-fi is Breakaway Day, or the day the moon blows out of Earth's orbit on Space 1999, which, as a kid growing up, was my second favorite sci-fi show behind Star Trek. Space 1999 starred Martin Landau and Barbara Bain, and in the second season, Catherine Schell, and is about these folks who were on a moon base, and the moon got blown out of the Earth's orbit due to like a huge nuclear explosion. First season was very cerebral, very sciencey. Second season went very lost in space with Monster of the Week and...
I love season 2.
And Catherine Schell played a metamorph who could just turn into any old organic creature she wanted to, so that brought some camp to it.
I loved Catherine Schell.
She was awesome. I love both seasons. I don't have a grudge against either season. I know it's very polarizing for some people. This was a 1974 through 76-ish show, depending on where you were in syndication. I love it. I'll be having a little Space 1999 moment this coming Tuesday. It's available on, I believe it's on Prime to stream if you've never seen it. Check it out. It's a lot of fun. So one show that we're not talking about this season is Dancing with the Stars. In a season, coming off of a season where they had Nell DeMarco doing some amazing work and rightfully winning the Mirror Ball trophy, they've decided to cast Ryan Lochte, who was an embarrassment in Rio, quite frankly, regardless of his medal count, and pretty much homophobe Texas Governor Rick Perry. And I'm just not going to join that show this year, regardless of the fact that I wouldn't mind seeing Mary Lou Henner and, who's the other sitcom?
Maureen McCormick.
Maureen McCormick. I knew it was a Brady Bunch, but it wasn't Florence Henderson because she'd already been there once.
Yeah.
Despite that and Derek Huff's return, I can't support a show that goes down that route. So they'll be Dancing with the Stars reports this season because we just say no.
Yeah. Not going to happen. Sorry. On a lighter note.
Yes.
This past weekend was the UK Meet, which is essentially the largest meetup for gay romance readers and writers in the United Kingdom.
Yes, that is true. And Brandilyn...
Yes, that is true,
sir.
That
is true. Brandilyn Carpenter, who runs Prism Book Alliance, who is an often contributor to our show, was actually there because she was sponsoring with Prism the UK Meet. So we caught up with her just a couple days ago when she got home to find out the details on that. So we're happy to welcome Brandilyn from the Prism Book Alliance back to the podcast. She is fresh back from the UK Meet. Welcome back, Brandilyn.
Fresh, that's funny. Jet lag and no caffeine.
No caffeine? Oh my goodness.
I don't do caffeine. That's why jet lag hit me so hard. I don't do caffeine.
Oh, wow.
I know, I'm weird.
It's good for you overall, though.
Yes, it is. So, UK Meet.
Yeah, tell us all about it.
Well, it was a lot of fun. It was my first time to London, or actually to the UK. It was my first time to meet most of the people I met, even though I've worked with them for years. It's a lot more laid back than GRL. It's very British. It was, I've been to GRL, a couple of times. I've been to RT, I've been to Rainbow Con. But yeah, it was alike in some ways and it was different. And I was the one with the accent there. Of course, to me, they all had accents, but, I think there were a handful of us from America. And also Prism was a sponsor. So I got to sit at a table and, at a sponsor table. So that was kind of cool. I was the only sponsor not selling something, but hey, I was sitting between L.A. Witt and Hans Hershey. And so they were a lot of fun to talk to. I might have sold a couple of copies of Hat Trick while I was there.
And of course, I'm totally good with that. I need to put you on a commission program because you're really good about pushing that book.
Well, I had the stuff that I also pushed the podcast.
Oh, thank you.
When I was sitting there and people would come up, I would always give them a bookmark and tell them about the podcast. So hopefully you'll get a couple more listeners from that, readers, watch, whatever. Jet lag.
I think you covered us on both watchers, listeners, and readers across the stuff that we had on your table.
Yes, pretty much. But back to UK Meet. I was lucky enough to moderate a panel with TJ Masters, JT Cheyenne, and Becky Black, where we talked about setting, or they talked about setting, and how important setting is to your book and the different aspects. It's not just where your book is placed, but also when, how they talk, et cetera, et cetera. And the panelists did a fabulous job. The audience had some great questions for them. And they even asked me a couple, which was weird. But that's okay. There were also some great panels on self-publishing, on different genres, and how to classify your book in different genres. We actually followed a panel on cover art, what to do and what not to do. Because there were a couple of great cover artists there. Garrett Lee, who does covers as well as writing. Also, Kelly Dennis from, I believe she's book covers by design. And I'm trying to remember the third person on that panel. I can't remember. I actually did not attend the first of the two keynote speeches. But the second one was talked about transgender issues, which is very, very timely. And it was an excellent talk. I don't know what else you want to know.
You came away with a nice teapot too.
I did. I can show you my teapot. It lives on my Harry Potter shelf now. Saturday night. At UK Meet, they always do a formal dinner that they call the gala dinner. And it's a 3-course meal with entertainment and all that stuff. And they have assigned seats. And it's a lot of fun. I was sitting next to Anna Martin. And Kelly Dennis and Nicole Colville were also at my table. And a few other people whose names are escaping me right now, Ruby Moon and... Anyway, a few others, and they had fun making fun of the American. And at the end of the night, Claire London had done the centerpieces, and she said, I don't want to take these 11 teapots home. So someone from each table gets to take a teapot home. And of course, I said, not it, because I didn't want to take it back in my luggage. And they all went, the American gets to take it. And so I made them all sign it. And then, so if you follow me on Facebook, you got to see the adventures of the teapot until I got to IAH and my luggage was lost. And then the teapot took a back seat to figuring out where my luggage was. And it took an extended vacation in Amsterdam. But I have it, so it's all good. Don't fly KLM from Heathrow to Houston. The connection's too short. I made it. My luggage did not.
Oops.
So... it's all there. Most of it mostly came through unscathed. And then now that UK Meet's over, everything I've been saying, wait till UK Meet's over, wait till UK Meet's over, like, GRL, is now on my mind. So now I've got to figure out what's going on with that.
Before we hop to GRL, would you recommend that for folks in the U.S. who can get to London to do UK Meet, that they think about it for the next one in 2018?
Absolutely. It's they're not doing it next year, which you just said, but I'm definitely going to try and go back in 2018. And one of the things that I really loved about it was we had people from all over the world. We had Australians, we had Germans, Netherlands, South Africans. I'm trying to remember who else. I mean, we had a lot more different nationalities than, we get some authors from other places at GRL, but this was really, it was fairly international. And it was fun trying to figure out where people were from based on accents. We had Scottish. We had all the UK. Obviously UK was the predominant one, but it's a very different experience. Mm-hmm. And for me, being my first time in England, or actually outside the United States, it was just a really awesome experience. So yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to hopefully going back in 2018. Kind of sad it's not going to be next year, but those ladies and one gent works so hard on that. It runs really well, and they just work so hard on it. They deserve a year off.
Definitely.
So.
Yeah. Now, the other bigger events in our genre are, of course, RT, which is nearly it's essentially a week-long event. And then we have GRL, which is like an extended weekend. How many days does the UK Meet run? Is it the weekend?
It's just the weekend. You can check in on Friday, mm-hmm. and they have some stuff Friday evening. It's mainly just a mixer.
Yeah.
And people hanging out at the hotel Friday. And then it kicks off first thing Saturday morning. And then it runs till about 3 or 4 in the afternoon on Sunday.
Okay.
So it is just the weekend. Like I was in the UK for 8 days, but only 2.5 of that were UK Meet.
Okay.
So.
And is the UK Meet, would you classify it more as reader focused?
I think it's the panels this year were probably a 70-30 split between readers and authors.
Okay.
But the people who were there were definitely it was definitely at least 50% readers, probably a little bit more. I honestly think that there was a better percentage of readers there than at GRL. So, and it's a small con. They cap out at 150 people.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a lot of just talking and stuff like that. To each other and getting to know people and getting to, what other people are reading and writing. And there were some authors there I had never heard of, and that was really awesome because there were a couple of authors there that I'm really interested in getting over onto Prism because they write stuff that we don't normally review and stuff like that. So that was really cool. So hopefully you'll be seeing some newer stuff. Also, there was a lot more, I won't say focus, but attention to fiction outside of gay romance. Ulva, one of the top 3 lesbian fiction publishers, was there. Bold Strokes was also there.
Mm-hmm.
And they're 2 of the biggest lesbian fiction and publishers out there. And so it's nice to see that because GRL tends to be just the gay romance crowd. Whereas there was one guy who wrote LGBT comics. So it wasn't just the gay romance. It was very much GLBT fiction. And it was very inclusive, and it was very, it was really great to see. And everyone was just it was awesome.
Cool.
I loved it.
We may have to go for 2018. Finally leave the country.
Yeah.
Go over the Atlantic.
We just might
You
have
do.
to
You need to
bite
go
the bullet. Yeah.
2018. Just don't fly KLM from Heathrow to Houston. Other than that, KLM was great. It was just one flight from Amsterdam to Houston was too close to the first flight in from Heathrow. So, there's that. But no, you guys definitely should check it out in 2018.
So jumping forward a few weeks, we're about 5 weeks out from GRL. What are you looking forward to in Kansas City?
Being in my own time zone. No, actually, the thing that with GRL that's I think going to be the most intriguing for me is that they're doing I forget what they're calling it, but basically the author lounge. Mm-hmm. Rather than having the swag room this year, they're doing the author lounge, and the bloggers will be in there as well. The featured blogger. And so that'll be interesting because it'll give us more of a chance to interact with the readers, I think. Mm-hmm. Because in the past, GRL's been fun and stuff, but a lot of times the readers say that they just don't get enough time with the authors, don't get enough face time with the authors, because when they do see them, they're in panels. And this, I think that's going to be the most interesting thing this year is how that goes. Because I've been to RT where they do something very, very similar. And it's a lot of fun because you get to just sit down and talk with the author. And it's just, it's not as formal as like the signings and stuff. And so depending on how they do that, I think that'll be a lot of fun.
Cool. All right. Well, we appreciate you taking some time out to talk to us about UK Meet, and we look forward to seeing you in just a few weeks in Kansas City.
Yes. I need my Jeff and Will hugs. So
you will certainly get them.
I'll see you then.
Once again, thank you to Brandilyn for taking a few moments to stop by the podcast and fill us in on all the cool deets of the UK Meet.
Yeah, and also good to hear what she's looking forward to at GRL as well.
Yes, most definitely.
So that'll do it for this week. Coming up in episode 50, J.R. Barton is here as part of the 2016 GRL Blog Tour. And Lisa from the Novel Approach will be here with some book recommendations, and we'll have a GRNW preview.
Cool.
Yeah, good stuff.
Okay.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Thank you for listening to Jeff and Will's Big Gay Fiction Podcast. New episodes are available every Monday at iTunes and other major podcast outlets. While there, subscribe to the show and please consider leaving a review. For detailed show notes, links, and to sign up for the monthly newsletter, visit biggayfictionpodcast.com.